It's 2022 and metaverses are hotter than ever, and I only see reason to believe that they are going to grow in popularity and adoption, and over the next decade, it's going to be a substantial part of Web3. We got Facebook, who just announced the fact that they're not only creating their own metaverse, but they have changed their name to Meta. Then we also have popular cryptocurrency-based metaverse projects like Decentraland and Sandbox and some others. So I guess the big question is, why am I so bullish on Earth 2 and what makes Earth 2 different? Well, that's exactly what I'm looking to discuss in today's episode. What's going on, Earth 2 novice enthusiasts and everyone in between? Welcome to another episode of Earth 2 News, where we discuss everything Earth 2. If you want to stay up to date with the latest news, strategies, giveaways, and events, make sure you are subscribed and you've got those alert notifications on. You're also going to want to check out the links in the show notes so you can learn how to win money and land in my weekly giveaways, as well as subscribe to my newsletter so you can get exclusive information before it even makes it into an episode. And if you're new to Earth 2, you're definitely going to want to check out my playlist that is dedicated to Earth 2 noobs and has a bunch of different videos that will help you understand what's happened, what's going on, and what to do next so you can skip mistakes and fast track your success. You're also going to want to make sure you're watching this on Earth 2 News. That is my channel that is dedicated to Earth 2 content. I have exclusive content on there. That's where my episodes premiere first, and that is the only channel on which I go live so we can interact. Before we get started, I want to let you know that this is part of a series I made specifically for people who are new to Earth 2, so you're able to get caught up. Or maybe you've been playing with Earth 2 for a while, but you haven't been staying up to date with all of the recent announcements, or maybe you just want to hear my take on what I've seen and what I think is coming up. In any case, you're going to want to make sure you check out the rest of the playlist on my YouTube. I'm also going to have a podcast series. To find the playlist, there might be a link popping up in the corner, or you can check the show notes for a link, or just search my channel. Now that that's out of the way, let's jump into today's episode. While there are a myriad of metaverse projects out there, and probably more to come, Earth 2 is distinctly unique and has the biggest potential in my opinion. Now I'll just jump right to the biggest and the most obvious differentiator. It is a 1-to-1 scale replica of the Earth. That alone sets it apart from every project that I've seen announced, save for some copycat knockoff Earth 2 projects that have nowhere near the chops, the credentials, the experience, or the track record that Earth 2 already has. I've looked far and wide, and as far as I've seen, Earth 2 is the first and the only legitimate project that has the potential of actually accomplishing a 1-to-1 scale replica of the Earth. Now, I'm not going to knock any other metaverse projects specifically, and I do think that there could be multiple metaverse projects, and I do believe multiple metaverse projects will succeed and coexist. I do think that the first horse you should bet on is the one with the highest probability of winning. While the value increase in projects like Decentraland and Sandbox rely heavily on the scarcity of the land, as they are much smaller projects, Earth 2 is going to have the unique benefit of geolocation-based engagement. This might not seem like a big deal at first, but this one little/major differentiator is going to lead to endless differentiators and possibilities that Earth 2 is going to have over everybody else. Now, obviously, I don't have the time to go over all of the different rabbit holes, and honestly, I probably can't even think of all of them. So I'm just going to list off a few off the top of my head for this episode, but I encourage you to hit me in the comments below and let me know what you've thought of that I don't mention. Maybe it's something I haven't thought of yet. Now, here's one thing I want to create a splinter in your brain with, just in case you have any doubts or maybe you're a naysayer. Not to knock Decentraland or Sandbox or anybody else, but tell me one legitimate thing that Sandbox or Decentraland has or can do that Earth 2 will never be able to do. Because so far, everything that I've seen them do is something that either Earth 2 is already planning on doing or will always have the ability to do. But Sandbox and Decentraland and all the other projects like that will never be a 1-to-1 scale replica of the Earth. So every ability and feature and engagement opportunity that Earth has because of that one differentiator is going to be something that sustains its business model for years, decades, indefinitely. Now, as a business owner and a marketer, I will tell you that when it comes to advertising, which Earth 2 definitely has amazing plans to unroll and offer profit sharing with, the geolocation ability is going to be huge. It's going to be insanely valuable. We've already seen that with Facebook and Google and Snapchat. You think they track your phone just to know where you are? No, they want to know where you're shopping, where you frequent, where you hang out. Not to say Metaverse and Sandbox aren't going to have advertisers. They've already got them. They've already got big corporations who are interested in buying plots of land and advertising and getting their brand out there. That's great. Earth 2 can do that as well. But what about the local pizza shop that's right down the street from you? Earth 2's ability to geolocate and overlap the two worlds is going to allow them to attract smaller business owners, is going to allow Earth 2 to attract smaller local businesses who want to market to users and players living in those areas and visiting those areas in Earth 2. So not only will my local pizza place be able to send me a special offer because they're going to see where I'm playing from, but let's say there's a realtor who specializes in Miami Beach. They're going to be able to target a Canadian who happens to spend a lot of time playing and exploring South Beach. You like free money? You want to win some free land? Well, you're definitely going to want to check out my 2 giveaways that I have going on right now. The first one is the referral raffle. To enter that, you fill out the form below, and I'm going to use your promo code when I make my purchases. The next one is going to be my land giveaway. Each and every week, I buy land and I give it away to people who use my promo code. All you have to do is use my referral code when you're making your purchases, take a screenshot of the transaction, and send it to myearth2news@gmail.com. Each week I pick a random winner who receives all of the land that I'm able to purchase for that week. Every purchase you make with my referral code is another entry, so make sure you're using my referral code on your purchases, make sure you're getting screenshots, and make sure you're sending them to myearth2news@gmail.com. I wish you the best of luck, and I hope to see you in the winner's circle. There's also an inherent value in knowing what areas are going to have traffic, and particularly traffic from the demographics that you want, based on what those areas are in the real world. I have to blindly explore Decentraland, which is part of the fun, but it is time consuming and it's a lot of hit and miss stuff. But most importantly, from a business's perspective, it's going to lead to a lot of inconsistency in traffic. So if I'm paying to market over here and I'm putting up a little Decentraland billboard over here because if I'm paying to put up a little Decentraland billboard over here because there was a lot of traffic there last month, and now all of a sudden everyone's explored there and they found out it's boring, or maybe they were only there because there was an event being held there last month, or for whatever reason, now all that traffic has shifted to another side of the metaverse in Decentraland. My billboard doesn't get the eyeballs I was expecting. Inconsistency in marketing is very costly. However, if we go to Earth 2, and let's say I've got a sports apparel brand and I want to market in front of people who are fans of football, I can target places like NFL stadiums, college stadiums, the NFL Hall of Fame, all sorts of places like that. And not only are there people who are in Pittsburgh exploring the Miami Stadium in Earth 2, but then also the people who are really there in real life might also whip out their phone and see what's going on in Earth 2 through AR. Let's say you're visiting the NFL Hall of Fame. I'd imagine that someone who is very interested in football was probably the person who purchased that in Earth 2. They're probably going to have some really cool football related attraction in Earth 2, maybe even a replica of the Hall of Fame, maybe a bunch of NFTs of football videos and highlights and pictures and all sorts of other stuff. And when I go there to the Hall of Fame in real life, I'm going to be engaging in AR and seeing what's going on. What's beautiful about that is now as a marketer, I could tag both the person who's visiting from afar via AR, desktop, or whatever else, but also the person who's visiting in real life and experiencing it through AR, or who's just walking around with their phone in the Decentraland, or just walking around with their phone in the Earth 2 app and not even engaging, but I know that geographically they went there. There's also going to be consistent traffic around places like Stonehenge, the Eiffel Tower, Manhattan, Times Square, Statue of Liberty, the Las Vegas Strip, Great Wall of China, pyramids in Egypt. And there's going to be a bunch of people who are going to be Earth 2 players who are going to think, I wonder what's right here in Earth 2, on top of all of the people who are visiting from afar, just curious to see what somebody built in place of the Great Pyramids. Bored at an airport during a layover, slip into VR or AR and find out that there's an amusement park there, or maybe a really unique game that somebody built, maybe a sick mansion they let you explore, perhaps a maze for you to kill some time walking through. All of those are great opportunities for an advertiser to get in front of your face. So as a landowner, that's a very attractive feature because I'm going to be getting a share from that advertising. As a player, that's an attractive feature because it keeps constant novelty wherever I go. I'm never going to be bored as long as I have juice in my phone and an ability to connect to the internet and explore. But most importantly, marketing dollars are what makes the world go round. Why is Facebook free? Why is Instagram free? Why is Google's search engine free? Marketing and advertising is paying for all of it. And again, my experience as a business owner and as a marketer, I know that the more efficient, the more effective, and again, as my experience as a business owner and a marketer, I can tell you that the more efficient and the more effective and the more detailed and informed the marketing is, the better the ROI is going to be and the more money I'm going to spend through that vehicle. Got a long Uber ride home? Why not kill some time and be a little bit more entertained by seeing what's along that route in Earth 2 instead of just looking out the window at a whole bunch of nothing? I assure you the Earth 2 scenery is probably going to be much more interesting and engaging. More marketing efficacy and value means more marketing dollars into Earth 2. And the ability for Earth 2 to attract worldwide corporate brands all the way down to small mom and pops who are just looking to target a specific block within walking distance of their bakery is going to attract dollars from everybody. And remember, as a landowner, you're able to partake in this marketing revenue, so it's good for everyone involved, which is also going to bring more users and creators to the Earth 2 community, which is going to increase the value, which is going to increase the marketing dollar attraction, and it's going to be a beautiful cyclical little thing they've got going on. Now, another benefit or another attraction that I see for Earth 2 is so far, as of the time of this recording, corporations are significantly late to the game, at least all the big boys. If you go on Decentraland and you look at the map, you'll see a bunch of partials and estates that are already bought up by familiar brands. Atari's got a nice little center there, pretty cool. You can go in and play some little old school arcade games. Now there may be some whales in there who are spending a ton of money and acquiring a lot of land, but it's not on the level of like Coca-Cola and Atari. They're not spending that type of money. So that means the prices haven't skyrocketed. They're not suffering from rapid inflation due to all of the interest from major corporations and all that money coming in that you're going to have to compete with. And I would also argue that the sheer size of Earth 2 is also going to help mitigate that, which is great for the community because it's going to keep more communal involvement, engagement, investment, development, creation in the Earth 2 ecosystem. So it's going to be a lot more of you and me, mom and pops, as opposed to Nike coming in and Coca-Cola coming in and Atari, God bless you, I love you, but you're driving up the price and making my house more expensive if I want to buy it in Decentraland now. That's going to be a major deterrent to future players. And this is also related to how small those plots are. Scarcity and demand have a very classic and established relationship with price. Earth 2's model is going to be much more effective at keeping the entire project for the people, by the people. And if you haven't seen Ready Player One yet or read the book, check it out. And yes, I do think that corporations are eventually going to be rushing in, which is one of the reasons why I think it's important for us to get in on Earth 2 now. But I don't think they are going to be rushing in until phases 3 and potentially phases 4 have brought all those other developments to fruition, because that's when it really becomes attractive for them. And that's one reason I think it's brilliant that the marketing isn't going to be fully throttled up until the later phases. It gives us as nobodies more opportunity to get in and get the high valued areas and get the better deals on the land before they start getting bought up by corporations. I also think that corporations, for the most part, since it is going to be geographically synced, they are probably going to be focused on significant locations for those brands, like their headquarters or certain entertainment areas. It all depends on which brand it is, but in Decentraland and Sandbox, they just want to occupy big spaces. There's no reason for them to buy here versus here. They're just going to buy as much as they can, the biggest estate they can, for the sheer size when you're looking at the map. Whereas in Earth 2, they're going to be wanting to buy the high traffic areas, which are already bought up by users like you and I, which is going to force them to be buying on the secondary market from users like you and I, and then also probably buying in and around mega cities, which I think both of these things are going to be relatively difficult for them to do effectively, at least in large chunks, aside from the people who bought those large chunks, those 750 square units in the early days before things got so heavily divided and the prices got so inflated. You got to imagine, if they're going to be buying tier 3 and tier 4 and whatever tier land, it's going to be the less desired land that you and I haven't bought yet. And since you and I were the first ones getting in on this, we bought up all the great spots, either the stuff that's correlated to important and significant places in Earth 1, our regular Earth, or the places that have become more attractive based on the Earth 2 developments. Like I mentioned before, mega cities, and I've got an entire video, actually a couple of videos that discuss mega cities, so check those out and I'll explain those in more detail. But the gist of it is the value is still very obtainable for you and I in Earth 2, whereas the prices just to buy a single piece of land in Sandbox, I think I looked at it yesterday, and you'd have to put out at least $4,000 US dollars, and that's after Ethereum has already crashed and the bear market is already looking to be in effect. This isn't even at the heights of what those prices were. So unless you got 14 grand lying around to buy one tile so you could put like a house on it or something really fantastic like that, I would say that it's probably going to be a lot more attractive to you and a bunch of other people like you to be putting their money into Earth 2, where their dollar goes a lot further and they can do a lot more with it. I did buy some land up around Busch Gardens and Disney World. While they probably will, at least Disney will probably create their own metaverse, I would expect they're probably still going to want some kind of a presence, even if it's just as an advertising funnel to pull you into their metaverse. They're probably going to be buying up some land in the other metaverse projects like Earth 2, especially with the correlative geolocations. And what's more significant than Disney World in Orlando? While they might have a bunch of different locations around the earth, that's the baby of Walt Disney. Maybe Disneyland in California, but Disney World is really the big bad boy where all their cool stuff is. So that makes sense to me, at least. Now, I will also say these other metaverse projects that have come to fruition and have shown success, they actually help Earth 2 because they are proof of concept. They are showing that it is time for metaverse. There is an interest. And with that interest, with those projects hitting success, comes further development, and it's going to start coming faster and faster. Google wasn't the first search engine. Coke wasn't the first soda company. Both had predecessors that proved that there was interest and demand for those products. While there is value in being first to market, look at Yahoo, Ask Jeeves, Alta Vista, Dogpile, and all those other search engines that were the predecessors to Google. With some improvements on the concepts and some depth in the ecosystem and the economic potential of Earth 2, they've effectively positioned themselves to really capitalize on every metaverse project that has preceded it, while also gearing up to establish themselves as the go-to metaverse. But what if someone decides to build an even bigger metaverse? Cool. That's not going to be one-to-one scale replica of the Earth now, is it? So how are you going to correlate the geographic locations of a bigger Earth on a smaller Earth? But what if someone else decides to build another metaverse that's a one-to-one scale replica of Earth, just like Earth 2? Great. Number one, they're going to be known as the copycat of Earth 2. Number two, there's already several projects who are claiming they're going to do this, and they're shams. They don't have the credibility, the talent, the ability, the notoriety, the funding, the track record. I could go on, but they're not going to be able to do it. And if they do, it will take them so many years just to get to where Earth 2 already is now. I don't see that as a threat. That's like you saying, I'm going to start another Amazon-like service. Go for it. In the meantime, Jeff Bezos is going to the moon. Again, I'm not saying that Earth 2 is going to be the only metaverse. And I'm not saying that any metaverses have to fail in order for Earth 2 to be a success. In a horse race, all of the horses get to cross the finish line. But wouldn't you rather be betting on the one who crosses it first? Thanks for tuning in. I hope you found it informative and useful. For more information on this subject, as well as deep dives into anything Earth 2, tips, strategies, upcoming events, giveaways of both cash and land, you're going to want to make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, Earth 2 News, and my newsletter, as well as checking out those links in the show notes below. Until my next episode, I look forward to helping you find your way around Earth 2.